McDonald's has announced they will no longer be selling size M and size L French fries and hash browns. What's McDonald's got against potatoes? Is it because they're deep fried and deeply unhealthy? We must read the article to find out. No size M and size L French fries? And no hash browns? What are we gonna do? Well, first of all, let's read this BBC News article to find out what's really going on. So in today's article, it's from the BBC News, which is a fantastic resource. I talked about Newsround in my last video. You can check it out up here in the link. And yeah, basically it's just a really good resource you can use. BBC News is a bit of a step up in terms of the vocabulary and the grammar and the idioms and the jokes that are used. So I think this one is for intermediate to advanced learners of English. You can find the link in the description box for this article, and I'm sure I'll put it somewhere around me shortly. So let's get into it. Let's read together. As usual, I will read parts of the article and you can pause and repeat after me if you want to practice your pronunciation. Okay, title time. McDonald's faces a French fries shortage in Japan. We don't have this shortage in the UK, so I'm not sure what's going on. Let's have a read. There's a guy on a little moped. This is a moped. And he's delivering some McDonald's fries or chips. I will refer to them as chips during this article because that's what we say in the UK. So let's read this part in bold. The world's biggest fast food company, McDonald's, is suffering a chip shortage in Japan due to the global supply chain crisis. Okay. Answer has been revealed. It's got nothing to do with health. It's literally the global supply chain crisis. So in this case, simply the potatoes can't get to Japan. So of course, there's a bit of a shortage going on. Okay, in this case, they use the word chip because we're in Britain, because this is the BBC. So we're using chips. Like I said, chips means French fries. Okay. Suffering a shortage in Japan. Okay, let's move on from this part here. Oh, I can clickety-click. For the home of the Big Mac, though, it is not a lack of semiconductors that is causing the problem. That's a big word. Semiconductors. It took me a while to understand what they meant. It's a joke, okay? So for the home of the Big Mac, so the Big Mac belongs to McDonald's, basically. That's where it lives. You can't get a Big Mac anywhere else. Though it is not a lack of semiconductors that is causing the problem. So a lack of means not enough. So it's not because there's not enough semiconductors. What's a semiconductor? Well, it's another word for chip. Chip has at least two meanings, if not more. It's got more. One meaning is chip as in French fry. The other meaning is chip as in something that's in a computer. Okay, and these are also semiconductors. I'll leave a picture somewhere. Yeah, so chip has two meanings, so we call this a pun. Okay, when we kind of joke because the word has two different meanings. Okay, this is a pun. It's not that funny. I'll be honest, it's not funny. Let's move on. Because it's got nothing to do with what we're talking about here, really. Just a joke. Okay, I'll read the next part. The firm has said it is experiencing delays of shipments of the potatoes used to make its famous French fries. Okay, so the firm means McDonald's in this case, like company, firm. has said it's experiencing delays of shipments. So shipments of potatoes, basically. Like I said before, the potatoes, they're being shipped, but there's some delay along the line. In the global chain, there's some delay to getting the potatoes from where they are to Japan. Okay, that's the biggest problem. All right, and we've got here, interesting point, famous French fries. When we're writing in English, sometimes we use some techniques to make our writing sound more exciting or to help you remember some important point. It's often used in persuasive writing as well. Here is one of those techniques. So pun is also a technique, but this is a technique called alliteration. And alliteration means the repetition of the first sound in each word. Okay, famous French fries. We got three F's. Okay, and that is called alliteration. That's a technique. Okay, famous French fries. Let's move down to the next part. As a result, it will only sell small portions of its French fries in Japan from Friday until the 30th of December. Okay. This is worth pointing out. When we see a date, we always say the something of and then the month. Okay, always. So even though it's only written 30 December, it would be really unnatural for me to read this from Friday until 30 December. That's really unnatural. So everyone says until the 30th of December. Okay, I'm not quite sure why we cut some of those words, but that's how we say it naturally. The 30th of December in British English. I know Americans, they have a different way. Okay, so as a result, this is a nice connector, just means therefore. Therefore, as a result, okay, same meaning. It will only sell small portions. Small portions, that's so sad. Because in McDonald's, I'm not a huge fan of McDonald's, I'll be honest. I'm into Burger King girl. But McDonald's, they do famously have nice chips. People really always talk about their chips. And the small portions are really small. Like maybe you just get 10 chips or something. So I think it's quite disappointing right now to only have small portions. That's so sad. But understandable. That's a good choice to make. Rather than running out completely, they've decided to just give everyone a little bit. I think that's a really smart idea, really good idea. But what do you think? Do you think you're going to miss the size M and size L chips? Or not? Well, it's already over. So tell me in the past tense, did you miss the size M, size L chips and the hash browns? If you're a resident of Japan. Or did you not even notice? Was there a similar thing going on in your country as well? Let me know. Keep me updated on the McDonald's news. Actually, it might seem a little strange to say, but when I was younger, people would buy a McDonald's milkshake, chocolate usually, and a bag of French fries, a bag of chips, and they would take the chip and they would dip it into the milkshake and consume the milkshake and the chip together, combined. When I got older, I realized that maybe that was just a thing my friends did. I don't know. Tell me, did something happen like this in your country? Let me know. Is it strange? And if you've never tried it, I recommend you try it. But I do think the milkshake taste has changed since I was younger. Or maybe my tastes have changed because I really don't like them anymore. Let's scroll down. I'm going to read this next part here in quotation marks. Okay. McDonald's Japan will temporarily limit sales of medium and large-sized French fries as a proactive measure to ensure customers can continue to enjoy McDonald's French fries. Very smart. This is very smart, I think. So let's go through this. So that temporarily means just for a short time. For a short time only, they will limit sales. So this suggests that some places might still have medium and large because they're only limiting sales, not getting rid of completely. So perhaps some places still had M and L, but they're limiting the sales. They're putting a limit on it. As a proactive measure. So proactive means doing something with action rather than just sitting around and talking about it. Okay, making some action. So a proactive measure to ensure. Ensure is a great word. It just means make sure. To make sure, to ensure. That's a great word to use. Ensure customers can continue to enjoy McDonald's French fries. Yeah. Smart move. Let's move on to the next part. Click here. Customers will still be able to order small-sized French fries at all of our restaurants. To date, there have been no breaks in supply, the company told the BBC. Okay, so this is a preventative measure. So just in case. They're doing this just in case. So you can still order the small-sized French fries, okay, everywhere. To date. To date just means until now. Okay, so until now, to date, there have been no breaks in supply, which means that supply potatoes are still coming in and there's been no disruption. So at no time have potatoes stopped entering. They're still coming in, the potatoes. So don't worry about it. So this suggests that they were just doing this measure. They were just doing this just in case the supply does break. Just in case the potatoes stop coming. All right, let's scroll down to the next one. Click here. McDonald's said it usually imports the potatoes it uses from a port near Vancouver in Canada. Okay, we're getting a bit more detail now. So McDonald's in Japan imports, which means the potatoes come from the country into Japan, comes from Canada to Japan. It usually imports the potatoes it uses from a port. Okay, port is where the boats come in and out near Vancouver. Let's find out some more. However, ships have faced delays due to flood damage and the impact of the pandemic on the global supply chain. Okay, so again, it's the pandemic's fault. Okay, basically. So the ship, big boat, have faced delays. Delay means it's not running on its usual schedule. It's not coming at its usual time. It's delayed due to flood damage. Okay, so we've got two reasons why the potatoes, they're not coming to Japan. One is flood damage to this particular port. Okay, so the boats can't come and go as they usually do because there's some damage to the port. So that's one reason why the potatoes won't come. The second reason is the impact of the pandemic. So the pandemic has caused delays in many different ways. People getting sick, for example, so there's not enough people to handle the goods and to send the goods, and many other reasons. The global supply chain, like I said, is just where supply or where the product is sourced, where the product is obtained. And then the chain is kind of bringing that product to the place where it's going to be used and then sold on. Okay, so again, the pandemic every time. Let's have a look at the next part. It will now turn to alternative measures, including flying supplies to Japan, the company said in a statement. Okay, so this is what the company said. I'll highlight it now. it's not in quotation marks. And that means it's not directly quoted from the person or the company. In other words, this is not exactly what they said. This is just basically what they said. Okay, so it will turn to, not literally, this is a metaphor again. So it will metaphorically turn to or choose a different path to take, a different measure, a different way to transport the potatoes. Okay, so turn to just means to choose a different path or direction. Okay, and here we have alternative measures, alternative other measures, including flying supplies to Japan. Okay, they can't use boats, they can't use ships. Let's try flying the potatoes through the air. Okay, next part. This is not the first time McDonald's in Japan has been forced to downsize its portions. Oh, really? So pronunciation point. Look at this word or this phrase. First time. So it ends in a T and the next word begins with a T. So in terms of connecting these words when we speak naturally, we would just put the two words together. Okay, so we don't say first time. We don't separate the words like that. We kind of flow through the words. First time. This is not the first time. Okay, so the T kind of moves over and just becomes one T, basically. Okay, this is not the first time. And that's the same with any consonant at the end of a word and the beginning of the next word. Okay, so look out for that. Going back to McDonald's restaurants ran out of milkshakes. I've heard people complain about this all over, actually. In America, or the milkshake machine is broken, or the ice cream machine is broken. And in the UK too, the milkshake machine or the ice cream machine, usually something is broken or they're not available for some reason. It will be interesting to find out why there's such an issue with the milkshakes. Okay, let's scroll down to the next part. We're almost at the end here, I think. Yes, almost at the end. Let's read this part. In 2014, a protracted industrial dispute between 20,000 dock workers, terminal operators, and shipping lines at 29 ports on the west coast of the US caused a shortage of French fries. Again, the French fries. A shortage. Guys, get them while you can. Size M, size L. They should be available now. Go! But let's have a look at this in more detail. Okay, so a protracted industrial dispute. Oh, this is difficult. So protracted means something that lasted longer than usual. Okay, longer than you'd expect. So kind of a drawn out argument. An argument that lasted a long, long time. Longer than you thought. Okay, so protracted, longer than usual. Industrial, relating to industry. Okay, industrial is the adjective. And then dispute. Oh, dispute basically means an argument. Okay, there's a dispute, some argument. Someone believes one thing, someone else believes another thing. Oh, there's an argument. Okay, so dispute is just an argument. Difference of opinion. Between 20,000 dock workers. So of course, these are people who work on the dock. And the dock is basically the loading and unloading part of the port. So they're really important people when it comes to supply. Terminal operators. So the terminal is basically the kind of a larger area on the port. If you imagine the terminals in an airport, for example, very similar. So just an area. So the terminal operators, the people who operate or are in charge of that particular area. And shipping lines, okay, the line in which the supply goes, okay, the kind of the direction, the place. Okay, so there's a dispute between all of these people at 29 ports, 29 different ports. This dispute was going on. And that was on the west coast of the US. Okay, that caused a shortage of French fries. So perhaps at that time, McDonald's Japan were getting some or most of their potatoes from that place. Maybe they still are. It's unclear. Okay, scrolling down, let's read this next part. In response, McDonald's Japan took the emergency step of only selling small portions of French fries while it flew in 1,000 tons of potatoes. Okay, so 1,000 tons of potatoes flying across, but just in case there was an issue, they decided to only sell the small portions, the small size of French fries. So they took an emergency step, like I said, just in case the potatoes didn't come. All right, but I assume the potatoes came. Okay, let's look at the next part. Separately, in August this year, McDonald's said it was facing supply issues affecting the availability of shakes and bottled drinks at its 1,250 outlets in the UK. Okay, oh, in the UK. Oh. Separately means this milkshake issue is not related in any way to the potato issue. Milkshake, potato, different. Okay, that's what it means separately. Kind of like you could say in other news, McDonald's said it was facing supply issues. Facing means kind of having to deal with a difficult situation. So they were facing or tackling, one could say, supply issues. It was a problem. Affecting the availability of shakes and bottled drinks, meaning that maybe there weren't that many shakes available, maybe bottled drinks, there were less than usual. And this happened at its 1,250 outlets. Okay, there's two ways you can say this number. You can say 1,250 or 1,250. It doesn't really matter, whatever's easiest. But I will say that some people would say 1,250. Naturally, we don't say and. It's too much effort. It's too difficult to say and in between. So we usually stick with simple, one sound. Okay, 1,250. It's really small, but you can still hear it in there. And this we also use for other famous things like fish and chips. Okay, we don't say fish and chips. Nobody says that. Fish and chips, salt and pepper. Okay, we use it all the time. So that's some natural pronunciation for these numbers. Okay. All right, and outlets just basically means the shops or the restaurants. Almost there, let's read the next part. The company said a nationwide shortage of lorry drivers was one reason behind the disruptions. A number of issues are impacting retailers in the UK at the moment, one of which is the nationwide shortage of HGV drivers. Okay, yeah, you might have heard about this in the news, but it's big news. It's been big news for a long time, basically because people are quite panicky about this shortage of drivers. Because if we don't have drivers, how can we possibly get things into our supermarkets or, our daily conveniences? So let's read a bit more. So the company said a nationwide, all over the UK, nationwide shortage of lorry drivers, not enough lorry drivers was one reason. So not the only reason. There's also other reasons behind the disruptions. Disruption, delay, these are synonyms. Okay, a number of issues are impacting retailers. Okay, retailers are people who sell. Companies that sell, these are retailers. Okay, and impacting, of course, having an impact, or in other words, affecting retailers. Again, synonym. In the UK at the moment, one of which, so one of the reasons is the nationwide, all over the UK, shortage, not enough, of HGV drivers. What does HGV stand for? Of course, HGV stands for heavy goods vehicle. Oh, it was so simple. So of course, those huge lorries that carry all of the goods. Okay, there's a nationwide shortage. Why? Well, if you follow the news, most of our lorry drivers were from European countries, and a lot of them have not stayed in the UK after Brexit. I don't want to go into too much detail because my knowledge is limited, but that's one of the problems, and also training new drivers takes a long time. So I think there's a number of issues. I recommend you look it up if you're interested for more information. Last part. The company added that a historic shortage of drivers has been exacerbated by changes to rules following the UK's exit from the European Union. Okay, kind of like what I said, the Brexit situation has caused a lot of problems. So historic, meaning it's really not happened before, it's quite surprising. It might be something that goes down in the history books in years to come. Who knows? All right, historic shortage of drivers. Exacerbated basically meaning to make worse. So it's been made worse. Okay, so we already had a shortage of drivers, and then to make matters even worse, there were changes to rules after the UK's exit from the European Union, and that made the problem even worse. Okay, let's scroll down. I think that's the end. That's the end of the article, everyone. It's a bit of a strange ending to end like that, I think. But of course, as usual, tell me what you think of this article. Did you enjoy learning about McDonald's? Are you a McDonald's person or a Burger King person? Or KFC? Burger King's my number one. I don't mind having a discussion about that. Burger King is number one. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.